Good evening. This is Current Status, Episode 9, and it is January 22nd. And my name is Teresa Miller, and I can be found on Twitter at 24 by 7 IT Connect.
And I'm Melissa Palmer, and you can find me on Twitter at VMIS33.
And I'm Pumla Schmidt, and you can find me on Twitter as Exchange Goddess.
Hi everyone. I am the guest. I guess I'm Rick. I'm on Twitter at Rick Fanover.
So Rick, we are very excited to have you, and we usually start out each show learning a little bit more about our guest. But before you do that, just kind of want to explain our topic tonight. We're going to cover IT bloopers and horror stories and some of the things that we've all run into over the years. So should be kind of exciting. So Rick, would you like to kind of explain your background and then we'll get started.
Sure. First of all, thank you everyone for agreeing that I would be an appropriate guest. I was really excited when Pamela invited me, so thanks for having me. My background, as of late, for the last 4 years, I've functioned as a evangelist for a technical brand for Veeam software, but we're talking just me, the person here tonight, and in my role there, I see a lot of people doing a lot of things wrong, and actually, I can't tell you how many times I have to advise people or kind of tell them what not to do. So whether you call it a blooper, a blunder, or just simply doing things wrong, I'm tired of it. So we're going to talk about it tonight and try to make it better.
I think we all have our share of horror stories, though. I mean, just from working in IT, we all make mistakes, and I have my share of mistakes. So I'll probably share a couple of those stories with everyone, and everybody have a good night. I'm human. I've made mistakes. Once or twice. That's it.
We all do. That's how we learn. We have to make mistakes. That's how we get better.
It's natural, and the funny thing is that to some amount of I guess severity, a mistake teaches you to perform better next time in some level. So it's almost like there's a better learning experience when things go partially wrong. Of course, we want things to go right all the time, but I find, at least in my own practice, because I talk to people about complicated things, I really do, but if things don't go right, even if I don't explain them right, then the sequence doesn't come across correctly. So it really becomes an opportunity. So yeah, we all are human, and that's an opportunity, I think, to always learn and improve our processes.
Only if you're learning from your failures, though. Because if you don't learn from your mistakes, you keep repeating them. So
I almost worry, though, that people don't learn from pure, unerroneous success. Whoa! You're on a beach.
What?
That was a mistake, see?
Hey, you're all washed up.
No, but there are times where, I've worked with people, and you would think you've made this mistake once, and then they make it again, and then you think, okay, did they learn the lesson? No, because they do it again, and you're kind of like, okay, there's a trend here. So yes, we're all human, but there's a point where you do have to, be accountable and learn from your mistakes and try not to do them again. That's just
there's a problem today that IT, as a general sense, whether you're a storage professional, a networking professional, a specific application professional, maybe a infrastructure pro like VMware and Hyper-V and the like, the dependence today on these services, I think, is really so amplified that there's like these two different worlds right now. There's like this entrenched way it used to be type, and then there's this type that gets that IT services are really part of the business. and this middle ground is where people are going to kind of go one way or the other. And I think that they have to make a career move to put themselves kind of where they want to be. And I think that this is a fundamental time right now where things are so connected that it's really important that the mistakes are minimized, but the repetitiveness, like you explained, Pamela, that's a real risk point on the edge of going the wrong way, in my opinion.
Mhm.
It
One
is,
of the
and
things,
one of the things I always like to say is there's no such thing as a mistake as long as you learn from it. So if you do something stupid, you learn not to do that anymore. You learn the right way to do it, fine. But like what you guys are saying, do the same thing over and over again. That's not even a mistake. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know. Is it just humanness?
I think
Well,
it's that
let me.
accountability
Yeah.
where sometimes people don't take, they're not accountable for their actions. They didn't even think that it was something that they did wrong to begin with. Like it didn't register with them. So I think that's where some of that comes from. Um, but yeah,
Let's give an example
He,
because there's a real risk here today. I was talking to this person, and this person was just like set on getting an answer out of me, and my answer was read the manual. And I told him that, let's just say I don't remember the dates, but let's say I told him that in June. Without fail, this person, the same person, I'll see this person it's in an online, social media situation. I'll see this person 3 months later asking the same question, totally forgetting the answer I gave him or her last time. I'm trying to protect the innocent here. But it's like this revolving door of read the manual. Yes, it's there. No, the answer doesn't fit in Twitter. Go check it out. And when I cannot get these answers, it's just telling me that, you know, people have a choice to go one way or the other, and they have to demonstrate the ability to succeed. And if they cannot interpret good advice, I'm not hopeful for the state of the IT services. So there's a people part of the problem that I think needs to be addressed. And I let me spin that the other way. I'm not trying to just say I'm like this great, good, fancy, smart person, and that's not the case. I've got plenty to learn. Additionally, for the things I do know, I make it a big point to engage in the community. I still blog actively on external sites. I try to share practical information on how to do stuff. So I try to make my contribution to the community. But for everyone out there, I think that they really have to engage in that. And great podcasts or videocasts like this are a good way to get involved.
well, I know when I make mistakes, I almost always try to learn from it. I mean, for example, I think I was telling you guys this earlier. When I first started, I had we were doing an upgrade for this company, and they had a 2000 domain controller. It was actually an SBS server. And I was, we had the new domain controller up, and I thought, okay, I can decommission the old one. And I didn't do the proper checks. And I decommissioned, the DC promo, and I didn't realize that there was DNS still left on there. And they had an AS400 system that used the DNS. So the next morning when I came in, none of their systems worked. They couldn't get into their ERP, and it was bad. And ever since that day, if I ever have to touch a domain controller and do a DC promo, I do all my checks and balances. And that was, over 10 years ago. But I learned my lesson, and it just took me one time to do it. And I think everybody has those moments, those oh shit, what did I do moment, where you're sweating and you're like, oh my god, the company's down. I mean, we all have those as long as we learn, and that's I've learned, and I will never ever do that again. The fear that you go through when you have to tell the owner of the company that you screwed up.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of times, I've never purported that I'm a DNS expert, but the things that I am good at always touch DNS. Whether I'm doing like a VMware upgrade or, stuff around storage or, more recently stuff around backups. I've had it too, Pamela, where I go to make a change. Maybe the best example is more like a migration, right? I'm not a fan of in-place upgrades. I'm very much a fan of taking, like, especially virtualized infrastructure and, like, specifically at the VM level, replicating it over to new storage that's designed exactly the way I want it. Forget all my bad practices of the prior era. New hosts with all the right profiles, better processors, better RAM, all that good stuff. And then by the fact that I replicate over, I'll get all my thin provisioning right. But I've had it happen. DNS bites me in the butt every time.
It's always DNS.
It is. And I'm like, because I went to a new subnet, right, for infrastructure components, which is in itself a good practice. But, I think the takeaway that I had, even this is, back when I was in the financial services realm at a bank, it sounds antiquated, but literally a checklist where you think of things ahead of time, tick yes, tick yes, tick yes, a project plan, something, really makes a difference for complete and thorough execution. And even today in our complicated cloud, schmoud, SAN, schman world, I think we still can function on a way. And this might even be a good opportunity for, IT pros to get into mobile app development. Maybe make a little project plan that becomes a mobile app, where if you're going to do a change, really show your value in IT services.
Change control checklist app. Let's do it.
Boom.com! I love it.
Do this.
GoDaddy. Somebody jump on GoDaddy. Buy the domain.
Yeah, exactly. And so and if you're cool, if you're one of the cool kids like me, you're gonna wear your phone on a lanyard. You see this, kids? I'm telling you, this is the way to go.
Cool.
So you can totally you will be the boss in the data center. You just pop this lanyard on your head just like that, walk through and check through your change control.
Check.
Upload it. Boom, boom. Then your work is done. I mean, you would be the boss.
That was a mistake right there, the fashion mistake.
I forgot. I'm surrounded by females. I'm doomed.
And sometimes it's not so much like missing a check in the change control. It's when someone didn't put in a change control, and then they don't want to fess up that they didn't ever. Something's horribly wrong. Everybody knows something wrong. Someone changed something, but no one will admit it.
There's that ownership again. Lack of ownership.
We know this. And sometimes you're on a call and everybody's it's a P1 call and blah blah blah, and everybody's manager is screaming, and then you hear click 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 in the background, someone typing furiously, and it's fixed, mysteriously fixed. Someone went in and backed out their change, but we don't know who.
You forgot the favorite word. Try it now, right?
Right.
Then you know it's that happened.
Well, can you try it?
Well,
now?
what did you what did you change? Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
We need an RCA on that right away.
I can't take any more TLA.
So I do think this is all kind of interesting because a lot of organizations have implemented change control because of these types of things, or change windows. Change windows are wonderful because you have a downtime. Your system can be down.
So, but change control windows can actually be abused too. Let's say you have a change management system and you have the approvers. They just approve everything without actually looking at what they're approving. People are submitting changes and they click approve, and next thing you know, you've got networking changes, you've got application changes, you've got mail changes, and of course your server team is doing upgrades to all the networking adapters at the same time that the networking team is upgrading, all the Cisco hardware, iOS on. So, and everyone just approved. No one thought, oh, hey, maybe we shouldn't do upgrades with servers the same time that the networking group is doing upgrades because that might be an issue. But
I've been in that situation.
I've seen it abused. And then you get into this thing where it's everybody making changes, and then what happened? And you basically have to reverse engineer your issue. Okay, was it the network? Was it the server team? Was it the application? Or was it plain old Windows updates because you applied updates the same time that you were doing your software upgrade and your networking upgrade, because everything was done in one day? You just go, what gives? And then there's nobody accountable pretty much because you just spent 2 weeks trying to figure out one problem. But if somebody were to actually go and figure out, I guess, validate all the changes that people are requesting and basically think about, does this make sense to make networking and server patches the same day?
Yeah, changes.
What's in that window?
Exactly. You don't put everything in the same window.
The changes need to happen, but there's a fundamental risk, I personally think, with the change control. I've been there, not recently, for the last 4 years I've been with a software vendor, so I haven't had to be responsible for, like a serious data center. But these change control notions, no matter how many levels of approval, there's never any complete, expectation of what could go wrong or what might be missed. There's always a risk with that, and I actually never had a change not be approved. When I would enter changes, I had plenty that I would back out. I had plenty that had problems show up later, not necessarily due to bad practice, but unforeseen. Right? The unforeseen is kind of the risk, and I think that the real takeaway here is that there are always different groups: networking, storage, servers, OSs, infrastructure, security, permissions, and then inter-process things that change it all. And a lot of people try to promote, and I don't know what your all's opinion are, but a lot of people try to promote like the hyper-converge, right? One pane of glass to do it all. Pane spelled P-A-I-N. Right, one pane of glass to do it all.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's that pane, or maybe P-A-I-N?
That's what I was. P-A-I-N, right? Yeah, that's what it is. And it's like, I don't know if that's a solution for now. Maybe later. It's a little too early to just, double down for me and commit to all of that being in one console. The risk of the unforeseen is real, and it really comes down to the best of the best people able to support changes and issues of any type. So, do you know who to get if the network is the part of the problem, or a VMware Hyper-V issue, or, if I had an Exchange issue, I know who I'm calling. That one.
I don't know what you're talking about. What's Exchange again?
I run it on my PC. It's called Lookout. It's where all my mail goes, or Outlook.
Oh, that thing. Oh, yeah. I heard it's just a fad, though.
No,
it's not. This email thing is never going to catch on, like, ever.
Yeah,
Never,
I really, this whole email thing, it's just, it'll be over.
Wasn't SharePoint going to replace it at some point? Remember that?
I like SharePoint.
SharePoint, the hell.
The F word.
So there was
when properly implemented, it can be a wonderful tool. When
that rarely happens.
When has it ever been properly implemented?
I see Rickatron raising his hand right here.
No, I was throwing things. I was going crazy. It's the moment you hand it over to owners, like site owners, that's when it becomes improperly administered.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, once I agree with Rick. Once you hand it over to the business, it's done. It's like the pit of hell.
Usually there's just one business group that gets it, and you'll look at their site and it looks great, and the permissions are good. And then you go thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down, all the way down the line. It's like you're doing all this work for one group that gets it right, and honestly, it's a group that really doesn't matter. You get this one smart user that gets it. That's the way I usually see it play out.
And all he does is SharePoint, even the CAD designer.
There was a time when I was in charge of my team's SharePoint site.
I played a SharePoint admin.
I played that role
for about 9 months.
It was I have to say our SharePoint team site was pretty badass. It was pretty cool. I made like custom logos that looked like they were made out of glass and stuff, and we had We had our little forms that you had to fill out if you needed something and what we were working on. It was pretty slick, but
SharePoint
it can be cool.
It can do a lot. Yeah,
I think
if you
that's
do it right.
I think that's its issue, though. It can almost do too much, and if it's not designed correctly, then it becomes a big mess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, unfortunately for me as well, I've done like 2 or 3 major implementations of SharePoint over the years, and sometimes I probably shouldn't even say that because I don't want it back. I don't enjoy it. I don't.
Everybody's here.
I don't want it back. I don't want it back. Nope. I love Exchange. I love Citrix and virtualization. SharePoint, no.
I committed to SharePoint, and this is my own
Did you just say
everyday
that again?
practice.
Wait,
I committed to SharePoint. I have committed to
It is a
SharePoint
big commitment.
to solve one big
Did
problem.
he just say he was committed?
Yeah, to SharePoint.
Did you get
Pamela
in trouble?
I've got a problem with a 3-letter acronym, EFS, Email File System. I hate it. I hate it when people use email as a file system.
But it is
So
that. It is. Come on, Rick.
So you make all your folders and
No.
Go.
I cannot do it. So
Go.
I have.
Let's make a snowman. Okay, let's go make snowman. Let's ride our bikes. It is. I'm sorry. It is. I've let it go, and I'm gonna go outside and make a snowman. Do you want to come out with me?
But listen, the email is not the mechanism, not the vehicle to have collaborative review of a document, like a Word doc.
Wait, don't we just all
SharePoint
put that in our personal Dropboxes instead? Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
But I want it in my Outlook though. It's just so much easier.
Right.
What
The
do you
Outlook
mean?
files. The Outlook file system.
I'm sorry, Rick, but
IT horror story right there. Everybody using Dropbox instead of SharePoint.
We
That's
ought to
an
put a
IT horror
poll. Which one do you want, SharePoint, EFS, or Dropbox? You know, I want SharePoint because it's tracked, revision control, you get a pretty little icon at the top, and
very pretty.
you don't have to install another piece of software. It is pretty. Like you
You
would
drank the
Dropbox.
did you drink the Kool-Aid? I
drank
told
it.
you not to drink the
It was
Kool-Aid.
spiked.
Gosh, drink it. We got problems with this guy, man. I told you not to drink the Kool-Aid before the show. Definitely drink the Kool-Aid. That's a blunder.
SharePoint is the tool for me for revision control with collaborative review. The moment I'm trying to review a blog post with 25 people, there's no way email's the right tool.
Oh, no, I do agree with you. Email is not a file system. But everybody uses it. And you can't change people's behavior, no matter how hard you try. I mean, you can try to influence them, but users are users, and they will continue to use their email as a file system. It is what it is.
You're right. It's too easy for them to change. It's too easy for them to do it that way, and they have no incentive to change. The moment something like SharePoint becomes easier for them, that phenomena may change. But really, until then, it's not.
And SharePoint is hard. You know, for users to adapt to. It's something different. People don't like change. Change is tough. You know, it's very difficult when there's something new inside of your comfort zone. What do you mean I have to click check in and check out? But I just want to click on it. It's different. So, you know, people don't like change. I don't like change. I don't want to use that. You know?
I agree. It's really tough to make that transition, but you got to put yourself, at least what I've tried to do in my practice today, I've put myself in the view of the problem being solved. No more, oh, somebody's sitting at the end of the line having to take changes from this, and this document and merge them all together. I ain't got time for that, man.
I got a good idea. How about you take the blog post, print it out, write your notes on it, fax it to the next guy, he writes his notes on it, then you fax it back to the first guy, he does his notes, or, you know, maybe we can scan it so that way, you know, we can do color and everybody has a different color pen. No? No.
But that's a real problem today. Collaborative review.
It is hard.
I don't know if any of the options, right? Email file system, Dropbox, or SharePoint. I don't know if anybody can really pull out the trump card across the different levels of where users are today. And I work for a software company, so my thought is maybe they all should be smart. And they generally are, but they don't want to take the time to enable themselves for a change, and any organization is going to have that problem. So I don't know. There's a lot of problems today, but that's one that really irks me because I just want to get stuff done, right? I've been a blogger before they called it blogs in 2001. I didn't have to worry about no edit. I'm just throwing that stuff out there, right? Now I got people looking at it left and right. Man.
So that is a good segue into Windows 10. How will
so?
Well, from the perspective that we're talking about collaboration, change, and where Windows 10 might be able to take us from a collaboration perspective with, Cortana. I think that's kind of interesting that we can use that from the desktop to the phone, for example, and how that personal assistant can be there to kind of help us collaborate and interact with our machine.
Wait. I think I need to interrupt us all if we're talking Windows 10. We need a moment of silence for Windows Explorer. I mean, Internet Explorer. This is Spartan!
I feel
I haven't used IE for a long time.
I couldn't help
with my
that.
SharePoint.
Do we have an armor headwear or something? It's Spartan.
This is Spartan!
Yeah, I feel like I should,
Yeah, exactly.
have some type of armory on me. I keep thinking that movie Troy with Brad Pitt.
Exactly.
There you go. Yeah, I kind of.
Wow.
I'd like to see more with the Spartan stuff. What's that?
I'm looking for
Oh my gosh.
experimental.
So I'm skeptical. Yeah, skeptical. That's the right word about Spartan. Because I feel like it's just Internet Explorer with a new name. Although it sounds like it'll do some cool things.
Even with Windows 10, we go back to the whole change thing. There's still components of older legacy versions of Windows that have been slightly brought back because people didn't want to change.
Of course.
We can start button. Everybody complained about it, and there's a variation of it now because who wants to change?
There will
need that start button. Can't not have the start button.
That's true.
Start button.
I'm with you, Melissa. I gotta have the start button, but people will always have. I'm actually okay. Pull an analogy here. Web browsers are like children. The average American will have 2.3 web browsers installed on their computer. Boom! I'm telling you, it's impossible to be single browser in this world today. Now, Windows, this, that, it's impossible. Cortana, IE. I actually still love my Opera browser, but
Opera.
Oh, good old Opera.
I love Opera.
At the end.
I don't know if I've ever used it. It's awesome.
You're missing out. Yeah, it's exceptionally awesome. Yes.
Okay.
But
I like
Netscape. What? I heard they're going to make Netscape in a container, so you can just throw it anywhere. But I used
Docker Netscape.
Wouldn't that be ridiculous? Well, if you want to
that sounds awesome.
If you want a real blast from the past, use some of those Linux Live CDs. They've got bizarre browsers, especially the old ones and all. But on Windows, which is my endpoint platform of choice, I install Opera, and then situationally Chrome, and IE of course is built in. Well, actually, I literally installed
Chrome.
Your
2.4. So
I want a holodeck. I'm sorry, I'm just going to jump right there. I want the holodeck.
Yeah,
I want the
I was
holodeck.
ready to go there
Let's get
too.
the
That's
holodeck
another
on.
great collaboration thing.
We can all go to holodeck together.
Let's-
And, a holodeck.
Yes.
From mean,
Send
on
our
the holodeck.
holograms.
Holodeck 2. Oh, 800 hours.
Yep.
I mean,
Didn't we
seriously, can you
try that
imagine
at one
having a
point?
party or a meeting with somebody's hologram? That'd be
Remember that whole
awesome.
Second Life thing? That whole thing where like you built a person to live in the internet, and it was like Second Life, and it was this whole big thing. It's kind of like that all over again, isn't it?
I'm just thinking what people could do, like, with a hologram. It could just go good
Oh no.
or really bad.
Oh no. No.
Yeah. Let's not go there. Let's focus on business collaboration
But it's true, though.
or parties.
It's
or parties.
technology and what people
It
can
is.
do. The holodeck.
Yeah.
We are at the verge. Well, I don't remember who Facebook bought. They were a virtual reality simulation entity.
There you go.
Look at what's going on with Holo something, and I just Googled it on the other screen while we're talking, because I have not been up on Windows 10. But I think in our lifetime, we are going to see a very significant change in augmented virtual reality that will be possibly the most socially disruptive thing we've ever seen.
Well, when there's a hologram of me, just let me know.
Well, I'm going to get you a hologram,
Well-
beard razor first, but hey.
Oh, that's awesome. So we are at time. So Rick, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. You've been an awesome guest. Yep. So, and thank you from all of us at Current Status. We will be back next week.
Thank you. My
Thank you.
pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.